Morning everybody and welcome back to Waterhouse Forde. Well, it's bitterly cold here. Actually, I'm probably just being a wuss. It's cold. But we've been in the workshop, we've had the heater on for a little bit. We can't have it on when we're filming because it makes far too much noise, but that's warmed up the workshop a little bit. So yeah, we're going to get stuck in today. So last week you saw we managed to split the tractor. We pretty much split it and then left it there. We didn't go any further. It was right at the end of the day, and obviously we'd run out of time. So today what we're going to do, I want to try and get the front axle off of the engine and move that out of the way. And ideally try and get the engine onto the engine stand. And possibly start stripping the engine as well. And let's get a good look inside. So that's the objective. I'm not sure how far we're going to get. It's Saturday today, so we'll get as far as we can today, and then obviously tomorrow we hope to continue, which means that we then should hopefully get the whole engine stripped. And from that, we'll then be able to work out what we need to do. Obviously, it depends on what we find, but based on that, then we can start ordering stuff and also getting everything. Start the cleaning. The cleaning, as you know, always takes the longest amount of time. So, yeah. So, what are you excited about, Oscar? What are you looking forward to?
Using the crane.
You want to use the crane again? Yeah, so, well look, let's see how we get on. We will use the crane a little bit today, and mostly to get the engine in the right place to mount it onto the engine stand. So that'll be a little bit later in the day, but we'll see how we go. Right, so we're going to get on with that, and yeah, we'll obviously speak to you again before we finish up for the day, but yeah, follow along and see what we get up to.
Follow along and see what we get up to.
Okay, so we're here now at the front of the engine. Just to quickly show you, it's the axle is connected with these two bolts, these large bolts here. There's exactly the same on the other side, but there's also one smaller one down the bottom there. So these three need to come off this side, three on the other side. And then I believe the axle will then roll forward. Now, if you look at our setup, we've obviously got the crane is kind of in the way at the moment. That's supporting the engine. The engine is actually firmly supported by axle stands, but I do want the crane there just as a safety measure. So what we're going to do is we can extend this top arm. You see we've got a bolt in there which basically holds that where it is. You can see that the hook is leaning backwards. Now what we're going to do, we're going to roll the crane back, and that'll give us a bit more space in the front there. We're going to loosen everything, and then when we're ready, what we'll do is we'll extend that arm to allow the crane to go further back, but it's still holding the engine. Then we will disconnect the crane, move it completely out of the way, move the axle out of the way, and we'll come back with the crane then to lift the engine and get it all connected to the engine stand. That's the general approach. So yeah, that's what we're going to do now. Okay, so we've now got all the bolts out. You can see how this is opened up here, which is good. I mean, basically the axle is now loose. We can move it pretty much independently of the engine. Our engine has stayed stable all the way through. So what we're going to do now, we're going to wheel the axle forward and see if it'll come off the engine, and then we'll move it Actually, I think that'll probably be enough. We probably then will just disconnect the crane, move it out of the way, get the axle completely out of the way, and then bring the crane back in to when we're ready to put the engine on the engine stand. Okay, engine is stable. Right. Gently move the crane out.
Inside.
Gently, right?
Yeah. Oh.
Okay. Right, now we have a puller that we can use to try and pull this off, but we don't need to because it's actually just coming straight off. There we go. Well, there you go. Well, that was easy enough. So we can see there's a lovely surface there that oil seal has been running on. So that's good. I'm glad about that. Okay, so the next job now is to take this off and this. So we'll get cracking with that. Okay, just quickly before we go any further, I just wanted to show you quite clearly we can see the timing mark on this cog and also on that one. You can see those two lined up now. And then if you go back to the flywheel at the back, you can see there's also an arrow on there, and that's pretty much pointing dead on, as in straight up. Not quite sure what it's oh, there's a line here as well. So there's an arrow there and an arrow there. So we know that if we line those two up, that is our timing position, which basically means top dead center, I believe, on cylinder number 1. And normally on this side over here somewhere on the flywheel, we should see timing marks in there as well. Although I think it's actually, there's a hole here. And I think if you put a little screwdriver or something in there, it'll actually lock into a hole, a corresponding hole on the flywheel, and lock it in top dead center. So Oscar, get me a small punch, please. Okay, so if you put a punch in that hole, Oscar. Now that should have locked into, you see how that's now locked on the flywheel. So that's another way of knowing that we're in top dead center.
Can you just
on number 1.
Sorry. Can you just take it out?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a hole and I can actually see through.
Oh, there you go.
It isn't 100% lined up.
Okay.
Just gonna line it up.
Yeah, the punch is a bit smaller.
There you go. Now
Okay.
it is 100% lined up.
Great. So that's your timing marks on the Ferguson.
So why did we need it in top dead center?
Good question. Right, okay. So basically, if you look here, we've got, this is the main crankcase, which is turning the pistons, right?
Yeah.
Making the pistons go up and down. This is connected to the camshaft, okay?
Yeah.
And then on top here, you've got these, what they call cam followers, okay? Do you see these rods that run all the way down? And they
Yes.
engage with the cam, which is running through the engine over here, right? Listening?
Yeah.
Okay, come around this side. And then here, the distributor connects in here, and the distributor is also connected to or runs on the camshaft. And basically what this is doing is delivering or coordinating the timing for the engine. Because what we need, you know, when the piston gets to the top, we want the spark plug to fire at exactly the right moment, right? And all of that is so we want the valves to close, so that when the piston's coming up, so that it creates compression, and at the exact right moment we want the spark plug to fire to create the power, that gives us a power stroke, right? And that so the crankshaft, the valves, and the distributor all need to be in time, and it's this camshaft that basically controls all of that, and it's tied to the crankshaft by this chain. And so that's why we have to make sure that these are in the right place when we put them back on, so that everything will be in time.
Yeah, so if we say put this one on with the mark there, but this one on with the mark anywhere else.
Even if it's just one tooth out, the engine won't fire properly. You'll even struggle to get it to start. With one tooth out, it might start, but it definitely won't run very well. And if it's more than one tooth out, it won't even start.
Wow.
Yeah, it has to be exact.
So if we make a mistake, there's no going back.
No, you just have to redo it. Okay, right, let's get these weights off. So, bring me... Okay, well I think that's about as far as we're going to go today. Just to recap, what we've managed to do so far is get the front axle off. We've removed all of the timing cover, the timing belt, timing chain, all the timing mechanism off of the camshaft, and of course we've removed the top water, the water pump jacket. Oscar's found lots of dirt that he's trying to clean up. It's mostly just years of sort of dirt and muck. Nothing really to worry about. Now, as I've gone along, I've realised that we really need to mount the engine onto the engine stand at the back of the engine, meaning removing the clutch and then the flywheel, and then it's going to be a lot easier to mount at this end. And there's also a lot less work that needs to be done on this side, where the engine stand might get in the way, and then we can get on with removing the head, turn it over, remove the sump, and get a good look inside the cylinders. So that'll be tomorrow's video. So thanks for joining us today. I hope that you've enjoyed this little bit that we've done, and we look forward to seeing you again tomorrow.